Thank you, Senators, for your leadership, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak here on behalf of my constituents and where most Americans are. Let's just put this plainly. Republicans and Americans are about choice. We believe very strongly in energy choice, in all of the above approach. If wind works, if solar works, if hydrogen works, if nuclear works, we should be deploying the full resources of the American economic and energy might to keep prices low and to keep our adversaries at bay. Republicans believe in school choice because we believe that when you give parents a choice, you give children a chance. And we also believe in vehicle choice. We believe if you want a hybrid, get a hybrid. If you want an EV, get an EV. But most people don't have those choices. Most people don't get to pick and choose that they get to spend $53,000 on a new EV. Last year, as Senator Rick has mentioned, the average price of a new car, $12,000. Well, since Biden inflation over the past 3.5 years, American consumers are spending nearly $1,000 per month for basic essentials. You do the math there, you've priced out the lowest income people, not just from physical mobility, but socioeconomic mobility. The very same people that this administration is lying through their teeth saying that they protect. They are literally putting in policies and procedures that crater the lower and middle class. They're asset-limited, income-constrained employees, working poor people in my district who need a method of conveyance to take their children to school to get to their second shift of work. And Joe Biden is pricing them out of their livelihoods. There's not one single district that does not rely on internal combustion engine vehicles. And this is not an either or, this is an and both. We must protect our environment. We must make sure we have clean air and, being from a Great Lakes state, clean water. But we have to do so in a manner that doesn't send our people into poverty. We must do so in a manner that is responsible. And this administration has shown that the only consequences they care about are elections in November. That's what this is about. Joe Biden and his administration are outsourcing and our future, our children's futures, to Beijing and to activists. That's the only way this makes sense. When you look at China, where we get our critical minerals, when you look at where they're mined and refined, you look they're mined in the worst human rights environments, in the dirtiest methods possible, in the Congo region, and they say Black Lives Matter. Well, prove it. Let's clean up these supply chains. You see what those mines look like? You've seen the videos of children using their hands in these artisanal mines. This is what we're talking about. There's no oversight here. This is why I put my Bridge to DRC Act to make sure that in addition to reshoring our critical mineral supply chain, we're also addressing the human rights issues with our battery supply chains as well. We have to make sure we're doing both. And we have to make sure that these policies make sense. All over the country, we have grid issues. We have brownouts during the summer and blackouts during the winter. We have an aging grid, and you say we're going to be plugging these things in while your regulations are inhibiting new natural gas facilities, their power generation that could bring 1,200 megawatts online in the state of Michigan in the span of a couple of years, and you're saying no to that because you think we're going to plug our EV into a tree. We're not stupid. The American people know better. We can't afford these policies, and it's going to be more impactful than just your election. And so we got sent here to fight for people who can't fight for themselves, to speak for people who can't speak for themselves, and to stand for people who can't stand for themselves and surely cannot stand this administration's policies. We're here to protect American jobs. We're here to build bridges with people who are willing to build bridges with us. We're here not just to make sure that we're not outsourcing our futures to Mexico and China, but to make sure that jobs can stay in the Michigan's 10th Congressional District, the #1 manufacturing district in the entire nation, where there are layoffs happening with American auto workers because this administration is sending their wages and sending their pensions and sending their bonuses to other countries. I had the opportunity to question Secretary Buttigieg. I asked him directly. I asked him, what's going to happen when the penalties that you levy on American businesses, General Motors, Stellantis, Ford, that constitute 50% of Michigan's GDP? What's going to happen when your penalties for standards you know we can't hit, when that happens? What's going to happen to UAW's benefits? He didn't have an answer, but he had his talking points. Well, talking points from Washington, D.C. aren't good enough anymore. We are standing up to this administration that is so divorced from the reality of the American people that it requires the legislators who you sent here to stand up and fight for your behalf. So it is my honor to stand next to these true blue Americans to stand up for your rights and for your vehicle choice. Thank you so much.
Dang, Congressman James, we're going to have you back more often. You're really good. You had notes?
Hey, I tried.